Alright, hello. I'm Warhound. I'm the leader of Black Rose Legion. We are here today to create a few instructional videos for everyone in the For Honor Discord training dojo. We'll have the link in the description or a pinned comment. We don't know. Um, so we've been a clan for about four and a half years, almost 5 now, basically since the game came out. We got a few. Got about 8 members of my clan here so far. Just gonna introduce you all one by one, so go down the list. Knights, how you doing, bud?
Hey, what's up, man?
Gunner,
Hello.
D-Mac,
Hello.
Hades,
Hiya.
Widow,
Good.
okay, Chris,
Hi.
and Drummer.
So,
Alright, so biggest thing we're gonna go over today is map strategies. This is a big factor in competitive play, especially now. Like, it used to be in this game you can get around this game with just being good. Your skills are good. Like, you're exceptional at the game and you win because you're exceptional. Nowadays that's not the case. Now you have things like what strategy you need to do on this map, specific map. Right now we're on Temple Garden. We'll be showing everyone pretty much the exact layout what you should be doing with this map and what you should not be doing. This is sort of a horizontal map from where my spawn is that you guys can see. So you got C, B, and A all across from each other. Biggest thing people need to know about is the where you get renown. So like the best place for a vanguard to get renown, of course, is sitting on B. That's where you send your vanguards. Now, depending on the strategy, you may not have them go there. This match particularly, we usually like to rush C, at least 2 of us, and then 2 take B. That's the biggest thing. And we're gonna go over the rules of what you should be doing. So I'll have everyone follow me to C. Even the enemy team will come to C. And we'll explain first what the heavy's job should be doing, what you should be doing as a heavy character, a sitting heavy, because there are different rules for heavy as well.
you captured Zone C.
All right, so we'll go over. We'll start with Drummer King over here. He's playing the Warlord. Let him explain a few things of what a sitting heavy should be doing and what you should be looking for. So, Drummer, you take it away.
Alright. So, if you decide to be, city heavy on zone, there's 2 things that you're really going to be looking for. First, you're going to be trying to pay attention to the enemy team as much as possible. Since you're sitting on zone, you're going to be main comms trying to figure out where the enemy team is at all times. Second, you need to be able to keep up with your own teammates, and especially their health. Meaning, if they're low health or if they're fighting on B, you need to be able to swap out with them or go help them fight, so on and so forth. Other than that, it's not really too complicated. Just make sure, keep up with what needs to be done, and so on and so forth.
Alright, good information. Another thing, you get renown, a lot more renown for just sitting on the zone as a heavy, so it's a big thing. And killing on the zone too, so if it's already your zone. So we'll move on to, let's see, the assassin. So the assassin of our group, at least for the most part, I'll start it with Chris, and Chris, you hand it over tonight whenever you get a chance. And just tell everybody what you should be doing.
Okay. As an assassin, usually you play the babysitter role, so you pretty much assist in most fights, and then you kind of look at the enemy that's getting weak, because you have to target them and get a chance to not let them escape and kill them, or try to isolate them in 1v1s. And you're pretty much the one who's trying to help out with the combos. So you have to be very particular with your timing when you work with your heavy hold or the roamer heavy as a JJ here, and I think that's about it for my part. When it comes to fights in the zone, I'll hand over tonight for the rest.
So, personally, in my eyes, look at the game, right? You have essentially multiple roles per class. So, say I have this warlord over here, right? He's not. If any of you have played warlord, he does 3 things exceptionally well. So, but he's not exactly the most aggressive character. He can be countered kind of hard if he's too aggressive. So the best thing for him, he's a stalling head. He's the point holder stalling head. Jang Jun, on the other hand, is a better roaming head because he can go around. He has very quick offense. His target switching is phenomenal. So the same concept applies to assassins. So if I'm fighting with, if I'm gladiator, right, and I'm generally you want to gank with a beefier character, such as a warlord is there to confirm the damage that I'm going to be pinning. I'm the pinner. You want an assassin that's your pinner. So he pins the opponent, and then the heavy, or whoever your heavy hitter is, Queen Vanguard, doesn't matter. Whoever the heavy hitter is the one actually doing the damage. You want them to get the kill. You also, because you get plenty of points for assists. The other thing too is that Assassin Renown gain is really reliant on executions as well. So I think the most renown you get is killing on an enemy zone. I think it gives you like 60 renown for that, and that's a lot of renown. I mean, if you kill someone on their zone, you're building feats quick. So one of the best strategies for an assassin is to go with another lighter character and going into their zone and trying to get as many kills and pinning them there as possible. That's essentially the roamer's role. Is I start out going to B, I help them clear B, I help them, if they run into anybody, we clear them out real fast, and then I go wherever I'm needed. That's it. That's especially for a gladiator. Gladiator's pretty quick. He's got great pressure, amazing pressure. His unblockable mix-up's one of the best in the game. So, I mean, if you're looking at the Dominion series, every team had a gladiator. I mean, it's just essential to have a character like this that can stun lock people in place for the real damage. And so for me, that's how I'm looking at my role as a gladiator on my team.
Yep, that sounds good. And I want to drop a little disclaimer. We are not used to this at all, so we may sound like we're trying to be very formal, but I know these videos are going to be put out for everyone, but mostly for people that want to play competitive base. So, like I said, we're definitely, we've been at Clan for a long time, but we have not been in the whole making videos industry yet. So this is what you're getting, but this is all raw from us. Like, this is exactly what our strategies are and what will be done in the game. So went over assassins, went over heavies somewhat. We'll drop it to the hybrid main over here, Mr. Hades. See what he's got to say.
I'm still not a hybrid main. But anyways, I play lighter hybrids, and by that I know all of you are aware that Lawbringer is a hybrid, Danhu, Griffin, and I think that is like the main kind of hybrid people go to. So my role as a lighter hybrid, I am also the secondary pinner. So I would be the other person roaming with the gladiator or the berserker or even the roaming Jang Jun. And in this scenario, basically I am here to both support and confirm things. And by confirm meaning, say if I'm ganking with the gladiator and we're fighting the warlord, my job is to basically not take almost all of the damage that warlord can dish, but also kind of be the shield of the gladiator. I will basically sacrifice myself if need be to confirm and almost secure the point. If I see the enemy team is in danger or that my teammate is in low health, I'm also secondary comms for our sitting heavy, which in this case would be our warlord. Your main goal for being a lighter hybrid is to help when you can and basically be kind of on the move comms. You want to pay attention to both your enemy health, your own health, and your teammates' health at all times. Even when you get executed or killed, you still want to talk and see where people are and where they are and help as much as you can. On that note, I'm going to pass it to heavier hybrid main, which would be my dear Sir Gunner.
Hello. The only difference between a lighter hybrid and a heavier hybrid like Lawbringer, and I would also argue Highlander as well. The main difference would be, as a heavier hybrid or hybrid in general, you're going to be outnumbered a lot and very often. You just gotta learn to defend. If you're gonna sit and hold, you gotta know how to hold and survive or hold and kill. If you're going to be a roamer as a hybrid, you definitely need to know what you're doing. Because everything can go wrong really quickly. Especially if you're playing Lawbringer. Lawbringer's got no hyper armor unless you're parried. And yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much. We'll go over specifically what characters you should be using in our second video. This is our first main oversized video, just map generalization of what you should be doing with which character. We're not going to go in depth of what character should be doing. Like if you have a Lawbringer on your comp team, you're probably doing something wrong. Like, well, I'm just gonna say that now. Lawbringer's not a great competitive player in terms of what he can do, because we all know. And if you're watching this video and most of you are, trying to get competitive, you know Lawbringer doesn't live up to most of the characters sitting on this point right now. But yeah, we'll go more in depth on our second video that'll be released sometime right after this one. We'll go most of the time in competitive play. There's rarely times when we see Vanguards, but I'll go over just in general what a Vanguard should be doing if you have one in your team. So specifically like Kensei, I'm not playing Kensei right now, but if you do have a Kensei on your team, or if you're playing Kensei and Kensei is more going to be clearing B most of the time. So Kensei, Raider, somebody like that. So they're going to take care of B. They're the ones that are going to clear it. They're the ones that are always going to be there. Now, they'll be the one calling for the roaming assassin or the roaming heavy to come help them in case of getting jumped. Stuff like that. Like, if there's more than 2 of them at zone B and you're just a Kensei sitting there, you're like, well, I'm not a very good anti-ganker right now, or you're just stuck. You're going to call for one of those. Usually for Vanguards, they want to get their feats as quick as possible, because Vanguards, are kind of reluctant to have their feats. They the quicker you can get your feats, which you farm minions, that's the quickest way to get your feats as a Vanguard, and come back to zone. You sometimes as a Vanguard can also hold point, just if it's really necessary and you're winning the fights. If you're winning most of your fights, you can let the heavy sitter leave the point, and you can let as the Vanguard, if you got like half health and you just swap with the heavy, then you can swap with him and take the point of sitting, and you hold the point. And this is going to go into more strategy wise, but we just wanted to go over characters first. What you should be doing is a character role. These are our roles most of the time. We'll go over combos, stuff like that in our next few videos, but right now we're just gonna go over strategy. So I'll take it first. So our first topic we're gonna do, I know the character kind of went a little bit longer than I anticipated, but first thing we're gonna go over the map scenarios. So maps like Overwatch, Temple Garden, Sentinel, these maps are all kind of based the same way. So you got your respawn point in the back, and like I said when the video started, it's a horizontal map basically. So from A to C, it's just across from each other basically, which means it's gonna depend on what you want to do. So, like I said, we as a clan, Black Earth Legion, we will usually like to rush C and take this point. This point we're standing on now. We want this point. Heavies will come here first. Mostly, it'll probably be it'll be me and or Chris or Knight with me at at Zone C, and then we'll have Widow and the other assassin. Well, we probably won't have two assassins on a comp team, but just for the sake of it, we'll have one of the other assassins be roaming with Widow taking Zone B. There's a couple of options that you can do. We have an offensive rush, which is 2B, 1C, and 1A. Is what it looks like. That would be, take me and Glad, for example, we'll take C. Widow would take B, and we'll send the Zerg to A to see if we can take that. That would be one option that we got going. See, what's another option we usually do? Knight, I'll hand it to you this time for another option.
So I would say it also depends on who you're playing. If you know who you're playing, which we run into a lot of the same, generally what you can do is split them off potentially. So if we could do 1C, 1A, 2B, and then say they send 1 to B, well, we can combo the guy at B, and then 3 then we'll rush C, and then cap this. All we need then is the staller at C to hold on a map like this, especially because with C your access to B is way easier, so that's why we usually just go for C. I would say another option would be if you really like Citadel is a big one for us. We do 1 cap the point because the zones are so spread out. 1 cap the point and 3 go B, and then we can decide whether we want to push them or if we have to retreat if they're pushing our zone. But you really don't have too many options other than that. Other than what we can generally. It's just sort of you have to engage the other team at some point because there's no other way to get zones. You're gonna run into some of them eventually, unless they just aren't playing the game.
Yeah, and like I said, most of this is coming from just our experience. Feats are gonna be a big part of what we've been doing. What we're gonna do. You try to get your feats as much as you can in any situation. So yeah,
that kind of goes back to what I was saying before, which is, as an assassin, the best way with obviously the fastest way for you to get feats is to kill, to get executions and whatnot. Faster way to do that is to do it on their zone. So pushing their zone is a real integral part to getting feats. Obviously, if you can kill 10 of them on your zone, then that works out too, but the heavy is going to come out way more on top in that scenario. So letting the heavy boost is a really good way to let them get their feats. Then once they have their feats, they can come off and help a little more. So that's part of that strategy for sure. You definitely have to understand renown gain in that sense.
Yeah, I agree. We'll have DMAC go over anything else specific for strategy wise. Our main Russian here needs to play a bunch of other shit.
The only thing I really have to add is on the point what Nye was saying as an assassin is your job is to identify whether you're a babysitter or the primary point. So if I'm on a point targeting the heavy that is solo holding, I'm in a 1v1. I'm an assassin, and Drum or Warhound here, for example, is a heavy warlord. More than likely, I'm losing this fight. My objective here is to hold out as long as I can to potentially ask for assistance from any other roamer that is available at the current moment. If none is available, I'm trying to kill Warhound or delay as much as I can to point the game. From there on, if I cannot win the fight, I need to leave the zone if I'm solo. I need to get out, leave the zone, he heals up, I switch out with someone that can come take over, or two people that can come and swarm him out of the zone. I need to be someone that is rotating in with someone constantly, somebody that is always assisting or being assisted. Other than that, that's it.
Got you, understandable. Anyone else in here have any specific things we like to do on this map specifically? And something like this map, Overwatch Temple Sentinel?
Just a reminder, on these type of maps, most of the fights are going to be happening either at C or B. Rarely the big fights happens at A. And as an assassin main, whenever you see those big fights, don't go head first. Just stay behind your heavies, try to help whenever they get an opening to the opponents, and then if the enemy is trying to do external attacks, it's your job to cancel them. Especially as a berserker, you have very good tracking attacks. So if, let's say, the enemy team has a JJ, and then it targets Swish with his unblockables, or he just does the Sifu pose, you just have to jump on them. And that should be it.
Yep. Anyone else want to add anything while we swap maps? We're going to swap to Citadel and go over what we need to do on those types of maps.
I think we covered most of it. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
At least for that. Just in general.
Pretty sure we're good on those maps, because those maps are, like we said multiple times, they're mostly horizontal. You're gonna be running literally straight across unless you're respawning. But yeah, if you follow basically what we try to do, most of the time we win. It just depends on how your team executes your strategies that you do, and you have to have somewhat, player skill. Like you can't just win, you can't just lose all your fights and expect your strategy to work most of the time. We are gonna go over the second three maps that we see the most in, we'll say, Dominion Series tournaments, stuff like that. Citadel Gate's the first one. Same teams, by the way, guys. Like I said, this video is pretty improv, so we're not trying to be special here. We're not Ubisoft devs or anything, so bear with us here. But they have asked to drop some instructional videos. Same characters as well, same feats. Like I said, this is going to be more map based. So the next types of maps that we got: Citadel, which is, Citadel Gate, Sanctuary Bridge, and Forge. So, examples. These maps, if you know, and if you've played these maps and you know what we're talking about, these maps can be hell on you and your team, depending on how it works. Like, for example, if a team is really like rush hesitant, like they want to get in your zone all the time, it's not very hard to get over to the other person's zone, because it's a straight shot. Or you can skip all the zones entirely, just go to there. Depending on, like, Citadel Gate, for example, you can just literally go across without going to C, B, or anything and go straight to A. You don't have to do anything there. We got a few strategies for this. Assassins will usually home point rush heavies and hybrid if on team. B push assassin to switch with lowest healthy. Okay, y'all know kind of what the fuck, but we'll edit that part out. Everybody meet me up at A. Like I said, bear with us. We're not used to all this instructional things, because we just do these things, and these things will come with time. We're giving you the most we can. They've asked for us to do this, to put in the training dojo, so give us any feedback you can, and if you want more videos, we can make more videos. But this is just going off of our main tactics and what we do. So, Citadel, Sanctuary, Bridge, Forge. These are the types of maps we're talking about. I'm going to show you guys the layout as much as I can, so you see the situation you got. So we spawn in the defender's point. A is the closest point, then B is a little bit further, then C is literally across the map. It is not horizontal like Temple and the other two maps that usually are run on the Dominion series. This is a little more difficult. This may be one of the most popular maps, but it's also one of the most annoying maps to play on, because sometimes people will just take this runway that I'm about to walk to, and they don't give two damns about B or C. They will literally just keep running in here because they can, and if you cannot kill them quick enough, you cannot combo them quick enough, they can do whatever they want, and they will do whatever they want. So, a few strategies for this map. I'm gonna hand that over to Drummer again. He likes this map. Every time we're on this map, it seems to be Drummer calling out most of the shots. So we'll let him decide. So Drummer, you're up.
Alright, that's alright.
Yeah, I guess it is. Okay.
So for this map, generally, this map is won and lost at B. You can come back from sure defeat. You can stomp them, whatever. It doesn't matter. B is on this map is key, because the zones are asymmetrical. It's hard to push an enemy zone, especially since the healing was nerfed. Before then, not as much. It was way easier to steamroll, but now, because you don't heal as fast on zone, if you're pushing their zone constantly and you cannot stall long enough for the team to get there, then you're gonna have a bad time, because you're gonna waste all this time running across the whole map just to die, quickly. You're feeding them renown, etc. So B is really where this map is one. These types of asymmetrical maps are one of them. That's key. So you're gonna have a lot of group fights at B. There's gonna be a lot of trading out. Obviously, when you're fighting minions, as little damage as they individually do, when you're deep in minions, you're taking a lot of damage, especially when you're fighting other people and taking their damage. I mean, it's insane. So you can get evaporated pretty quickly if you're not careful. So this is one of those really high intensity maps where you're going to be switching out constantly. You're going to be back and forth. You're going to need to know when to push their zone, when not to push their zone. You're going to need to know when to group up in the zone or at B or whatever, right? So, in this scenario, I would definitely send 3 people to B for sure to get it, because by the time somebody comes around, even if they try to push our zone, by the time they come around, the assassin or whoever is getting the zone has already capped it. And so all they have to do is wait for your teammates to finish at B, or for one of them to just break off and go straight back to you, and you've probably got them isolated. You're probably only fighting 1 or 2 at a time, if that. So that's why I would send 3 to B, because it's not too far. It's all about the distance between the points. So to me, that's how I would approach this map personally.
Anyone else? Like, defensive statements now if you're being rushed into your own zone, like I was explaining?
Well, if you're being rushed into your own zone, there's multiple ways to deal with it, but in terms of actually completely defending against it and fighting against it, it all comes down to player skill and force combos. You have to be able to somehow manage to kill the enemy team faster than they can respawn. Meaning, let's say you have a gladiator and a warlord fighting off, I don't know, let's say like a June or a berserker. Let's say that combination. If you're the glad and the warlord, you're mainly going to be trying to either throw the enemy team off the map or combo for as high damage as possible whilst trying your best to not get revenge. And if you're the June and the berserker, let's say you're rushing in constantly trying to steal the zone, you're mainly going to be trying to, well, again, more combos. You're going to be trying to hold off as long as you can, dodge around constantly, comboing the people who you're fighting so that your team can constantly keep coming in and keep feeding into the zone so that you can manage to uproot the team that you're trying to rush.
Alright, good points. So this map is a little bit different than we're still categorizing it as the same, but let's see. Citadel is way more open than Forge, and Forge is it's a nightmare sometimes in terms of rushing and being rushed. It's a little ridiculous, but usually most of the time in comp play there will be maps that are banned, and probably 9 times out of 10 Forge will be banned because of just how it can be exploited more than any other map that I've ever seen, and that just comes with experience. 4+ years, you know, we've seen this. People will literally pick the Forge map to get on the other team's nerves in a CVC or in a tournament. Like, they will literally do that just specifically to take you out of your comfort zone. So, and the other map would be Sanctuary Bridge. How do we feel? I'll let DMAC go over that one. How do we feel about Sanctuary Bridge as a whole? Because these maps, I mean, they're in the same category, but they're also kind of not. But they're definitely going to be based the same way.
Yeah, generally speaking, because if you're looking at like Citadel, like you can still classify as a straight point, right? Because you're still running from point A to B to C, right? So no matter what, you're gonna have to win the fight at B to be able to even have an opportunity to challenge C. Otherwise, you have no chance. Sanctuary Bridge, for example, is another map that is very difficult in terms of if you have a heavy hold, you can't afford to, unlike Citadel, have somebody holding on Sanctuary Bridge. Most of the fights are going to be happening at B, whereas on some map like this, Citadel, you can have somebody hold, switch out with someone at B. You know, they're low health, they come back to B, heal up, they rotate out of B. Done. On maps like Sanctuary, it's very difficult. You have your whole team fighting there, and you have the entire enemy team. You have the side push areas, but more than likely you will be required with your team to fight on B.
You captured Zone
It's
C.
a constant battle, whereas healing is an option on maps like these.
Alright, anyone else want to add to that before we move on? Like I said, we don't want to take too much of the time. We'll explain more in depth of what we mean by comboing people. We're gonna explain exactly character picks, like why Knights has picked Gladiator in the tournament, or in a tournament, or depending on what we're doing, CVC tournament. We'll be doing that right the next video after this one. But yeah, anyone else have anything else they would like to say about this map or the other two maps that would categorize?
Sure. So as they said earlier, the big fights happens at B here, and one thing that can actually give you an edge on these maps is, let's say there's a big 4v4 at B, and then you guys manage to kill one on the enemy team and actually execute that person. If most of you have enough HP to go through the zone, it will be a great time to go push the zone to make them uncomfortable, because they won't have any place to heal. And if you can keep a good rotation and stalling there, even if you don't kill them faster, but you're getting points because they're knowing your point, and you have B, and those zones will keep getting points for you as long as you keep them on the zone and you keep fighting them there, because they're not going to be getting points anyway. That's all I had to add.
Sound good? Anyone else? That's no. Yeah, no, for sure. Also, we're probably gonna go over feats in general with what we do, feat-wise, for specific maps. Sometimes, like, for example, if you have a Highlander on your team, which is not likely anymore because tournament-based stuff, like this is all for tournament stuff. Tournament-based stuff, you probably won't see a Highlander anymore because he sometimes just gets outclassed by JJs now, and you know, a Shugo walks up and just headbutts Highlander out of every hyper armor move he does. But for the sake of the example, if you have a Highlander on your team and you're on Citadel Gate, both of these points are fought underneath something, so you're probably not going to bring Spearstone. Because, I mean, yes, there's big fights at B, but sometimes you do not want... You usually don't want to just use your 4th feat on B just because. Like, you got, oh, there's one person clearing B and the 4th feat. You want to use your 4th feats for mainly taking out enemies or healing or whatever in a zone that you're fighting for. So probably have your Highlander. This is just example. Your Highlander will run Fire Flash instead of Spearstone, even though we know how strong Spearstone can be. It would be best in your best interest for him to be running Fire Flash, because the beginning or the ending fights, like winning the game fight at the end, you can win just because you have your Fire Flash instead of your Spearstone on a Citadel Gate like this. And we're gonna back out, go to the last categories of map that we've seen Dominion play. You know, Dominion Series, tournaments, CVCs, which is Clan vs. Clan, if you don't know what that is. Map selection. Alright, next 3 are Harbor, High Fort, and Beachhead. Now these maps, these are a little bit more complicated because of the way that they're just... You'll see in a second that they're not your normal specific setup map. So we're going to go in the Harbor. We'll just explain this, and this will probably be the end of the video. Like I said, for more in-depth, characterized feats, how to combo with the character, how to play the character specifically, we're going to be doing that in the next video. Everybody on the same team. One second. Yeah, bots are turned off.
Yeah, I would say in terms of feats, also, most tournaments ban double 4 feats, so you know you also have to plan that out. So if I'm Gladiator and I have Vikings on my team, I know they're going to run Fury. One of them is going to run Fury Fast. So I either run Fear itself, because obviously that's probably the better team support 4th feat for Gladiator. But if someone else is running Fear itself, like if I have Berserker, then Roar the Crowd. It's just stuff like that. If you're playing Warlord, right, and if you're playing on Harbor, you could probably get away with running, you know, your extra damage buff or feat for the 1st feat. But if you're playing on High Fort, you want to run Rush. It's all situational. You have to know the maps. You have to know what feats are more appropriate for certain situations.
And by all means, in any tournament situation, any CVC situation, if you have a choice to pick a map, do not decline that. If you know you're better on a map than other maps, you pick that map. Don't, for the sake of, you know, how your team runs things, if you're really good on Citadel Gate and you have a choice, but you're like, we want to swap it up. No, whatever it takes to win. That is our motto. That has like, literally been our motto for a while now, because we have lost certain games, certain tournaments that we've been a part of, certain CVCs, we were just like, well, you know, we can throw them off a little bit. We'll play this specific character because I'm good at it. Like, for example, I was really good with Yorm. Rep 70 played Yorm ever since it came out. But that doesn't mean Yorm is good in the situation of a comp base fighting a Warlord and a Shugo. So it's the same thing for the maps. If you know you were really good, that you can hold down Citadel Gate because your team has just been playing on Citadel Gate forever. Like, you guys are like, that's your main custom map that you want to go to every time you play. Pick that, because like we will not let you guys make the same mistakes we made. We're trying to improve everyone and every online player that we find in random custom, or not random custom, but random matches. We want you guys to all be, you know, better at the game, so we don't have to pick up the slack per se. Like, we all know the filthy randoms that we get, you know, mad at sometimes, and yeah, it's always their fault most of the time. But even though, you know, some people got egos. But yeah, anyways, we're on the harbor map, High Fort, Beachhead term. What is usually our strategy for this map? Who hasn't spoken yet? Let's see. I see you play on this map a lot. What do you feel, and how do you feel about this map? You don't have to talk too much, but it's okay.
I really like this map, but the main focus of wanting to capture everything pretty much is you're always going to be rushed no matter which objective is your home objective. You're going to get rushed. So you want to at least send 2 people to your home objective, which would be C or A depending on the side that you spawn on, and everybody else just goes B, because you want to take that as quick as possible before the other team has a chance to recover from the rush.
We do have a couple of main strats for this map in particular. Harbor, Wolveron, brought to my attention that we have a risky play option as well. On every map there's a risky play, but this map particularly has a risky objective takeover if you're feeling confident. So basically, you would have all the points, or you would say, all right, our home points A and B. At this point, because the map is so small, and it's, you know, it's kind of horizontal in a way from our respawn points, but it's not, because of the way the map is designed. It's vertical. It's way more vertical than Temple Garden way, you know, stuff like that. But when you respawn, or if you just spawn in general, like when the map first starts, if you're feeling confident, hell, 3, maybe even 4 of you rush their zone instead, because it's the exact same distance to get from C, from the defender zone, than it is to get, you know, from A to the attacker zone. It's the same distance. It takes the same amount of time to get there. So that is one of the risky plays that we've developed, and I mean, it's worked most of the time. We're like, send the Warlord, send the BP, or send the JJ now, send the Shugo, all to C, and let the assassin sit on the point until he's feeling like, alright, well, they're all about to die. They got a really low health, let the assassin run in there, and let the, you know, Shugo back off if he can get away, and go heal, and let the assassin literally just clean up the point, like literally like a janitor. Specifically, rotations are needed for this map, but it's also hard in a way to get from A to B sometimes. I mean, it's not really. If you don't want to jump off and risk a little bit of health, then that's kind of your problem. But rotation would be a specific thing you should work with your team. If you don't feel confident enough for the heavy to leave the point, then don't let him leave the point ever. It just depends on how your team is going to be playing. Then we can have all these zones are easy accessible. Literally every single one of them. And like this map specifically, bridge is important. Where the zip lines are, this thing, I mean, if you like getting environmental kills and you think it's cool jumping on people all the time, you're scum. First of all, no, I'm kidding. But you if that's your thing and you're really good at it and you can coordinate with your teammates, like, oh yes, I want to one shot kill this dude, let me jump on him. Coordinate with your team, guard break, jump on top of them. Even if they counter guard break, it's still a kill. Stuff like that. But Harbor, High Fort, Beachhead, very different maps, but also kind of in the same category of very odd maps. But you will see them, and they are popular. I'll hand the talking over to DMAC a little bit, and DMAC, you can give it to whoever you think has anything else to say, and I'll end the video with our outro.
One thing, like, what I was wanting to add is, like how you began with the bridge play, is, like, you can avoid an uneven fight at B if you're the only person that is able to challenge. If you're the clear on B, but you can't fight, and there's two opponents, you have one person fighting on your home zone, you shouldn't be fighting there at all. Let them get B, they'll back off the zone, or come to challenge your zone. You can avoid that fight as well by going up to bridge to play off of it. And that goes back into the jumping, and you can jump off the bridge to kill people on B, but that rarely works. You can go to point negate on their zone off the bridge. You can go to both zones from the bridge. Either or, side doesn't matter, doesn't matter. Knight has a good strat for this, which, you're a rusher.
It depends on who I'm playing, but,
I mean, you're
that's the thing is you need a staller for that. If you have a good staller like Warlord,
Yeah.
that's absolutely a viable strategy. As long as your team can. So the thing about that is you also need your team. You have to trust in your team to be able to clear out whoever they run into, cap the zone, and then get. That can take a while because people can get pretty turtly, right? So you also have to rely on your team to be able to combo and know how to take people out very quickly. But if you have all those elements, then stalling as a warlord or a staller heavy or whoever, I mean, you can kind of stall with gladiator, but not as easy. We all know reflex guard sucks. But if you have that, then that's a recipe for success. That's pretty much why warlord is still S tier and will pretty much always be S tier. He does three things just stupid good, and he's the best staller in the market. So, anyone who wants to play Conqueror, I got 70 reps on Conqueror, he's my main, he's my boy. You really want a Warlord. That's all I gotta say. But these small asymmetrical maps, it's really easy to get from point to point. So it actually makes it a lot easier for you to support your team. Now, obviously, it's conversely the same for your opponents, but if you are the better comboer, if your team is the better staller, then you will win on this map. And that's about it for this map, or these types of maps.
Yeah. There's a few other maps, but we're only going over tournament maps. We're not going to go over every single map because we're a tournament-based clan. We don't play casual. I mean, sometimes people understand how games should be played when you play it competitively. We're just not, we don't take this game, casually at all. Stuff like that. So most of the time, maps, we're gonna specifically pick out the maps that we want. Has anyone else got anything they would like to add before we get done here?
One thing, especially for this map, now that I just came to mind too. This map is, because like Knight said, it's very small, compact, right? Very easily accessible to both offensive and defensive points. B is only ever just being cleared, never like stood and farmed on, so to say. You always want to have somebody either with you or ready to be with you. Never in just a 1v1 or 1v2. You should always be in a 2v1, 2v2 scenario. That's about it.
Anyone else? Got some very talkative clan mates. Alright, so that's pretty much everything for our map overview. In particular, if you just want to put this video on, like, you can just hear us and you can look at the maps yourselves if you want. I tried to give everyone the best view that I could, but yeah, we're gonna be doing a instructional video on details of how to play characters in tournament-based fights, stuff like that. Tournaments, CVCs, stuff like that. The characters that you're gonna need to pick that we know that wins, and some of my clanmates here will have different odd picks that, if you're interested, they'll let you know. But most of this is gonna be for tournaments, so you're not gonna see a Shaolin video. You're not gonna see a Lawbringer video. You're gonna see the competitive stuff, and you're gonna see the things that win. We're gonna go over that, and then if we can squeeze it in our next video, we'll just have working on the combos as well with those specific characters. But if not, we're gonna make a third video. So yeah, that is our map strategies, map overview. We are Black Rose Legion, and we'll see you guys next time.
Adios.
Also, the description will be, the link will be in the description for the video, and it'll also be in the For Honor Trials Discord, so check us out there. So, other than that, thanks for having us, and we are good.